Using data, we're going to be finding cards under $50 that are potentially undervalued. Keep in mind that as a player, some of the cards in the data presented have pumped in price due to them being in meta decks, and typically after a new set releases, these cards often drop in price drastically unless they continue to be used. I'm personally a really big Kobe fan, so I've got a couple of Kobe cards listed here because I still think that they're pretty undervalued. Even though a lot of the attention is on EBO3 and the upcoming Heroines Cup event, Kobe is a pretty fun deck and I've been running him on Sim a lot. Surprisingly, this card sat at around $5 just a couple of days ago, and with his rising popularity, it shot up to about $10. And if you check TCG Player, there are some purchases at $6 to $8, but it consistently sells for about $10. If we were to chart out potentially how high this card could go, this card is already consistently selling for about $12 depending on the demand. And keep in mind that this is just a rare card, so if you open packs of PRBO2, it is pretty easy to get. However, Kobe is a pretty affordable deck at around $60, so if demand continues to skyrocket, this card could shoot up to the $17 or $18 range. Keep in mind that this deck is going to be getting a lot of support in OP15, and players like myself have started to pick up on it, and honestly, it's really fun to play. And if we look at the other Kobe card, this is a secret from OP11, and even though OP11 is still being often reprinted and you could potentially find them in Bandai stores around your area, this is sitting at around $3, making it very affordable. Even though this card has declined in price pretty heavily from $10, it's starting to slowly rise, and personally, when OP15 rolls around, I could see this secret being at around $10, especially if this might be a meta deck. Some other cards that have gone up pretty high in value is any of the Trafalgar Laws, whether it's the reprint or even the pirate foil. Both of them have very similar price action. And checking out the chart here, it's hovered at around $14 or $15 prior to the EBO3 release, but now that all the cards are out and this set is going to stick around for a while, people have just purchased this card up to $20, and depending on demand, it could potentially climb even up to $30. Honestly, in the purple-yellow Rosinante deck, all the cards in there have performed really well, including the alternate arts. Going into our next card is the Jewelry Bonnie. This card is pretty interesting because it stayed stagnant from October of last year and has slowly climbed its way up until recently, and I believe because of the Heroines Cup, a lot of people are starting to play Green Bonnie, and so demand for this card has come up just a little bit. I personally don't see too much demand because after the Heroines Cup, it's quite possible that this card could go back down to $10 or $8, but nonetheless, if you have this card in your bulk, it might not be a terrible time to let go of it. This is one of the more interesting cards on this list. This is just the regular foil Dawn, not the gold Dawn from OP01 Romance Dawn. And in November of last year, which is in line with the recent One Piece boom, it went from $3 and spiked all the way to $15 as of January last year. And when you check TCG Player on the sales data of this card, it looks like people have been buying a lot of this card in the past couple of days. Now, as a player, it doesn't matter whether you use Japanese or English Dawn in gameplay, but I have a feeling that some people may be speculating on this card as the very first foiled Dawn card from OP01 Romance Dawn, the first set ever. If this is a card that you're interested in purchasing, I would be just a little careful. I mean, right now from the high of $15, it does seem to be in a pretty good position. If there is demand for OP01 or quote-unquote vintage sets, this could go back up to $14, and depending on how crazy this demand is, it could even go all the way up to $22. It is cool that it's the first ever foil Dawn from OP01. Personally, this is a card that isn't bad. I mean, it's the artwork of Luffy coming out of the barrel from episode 1. And as a guy who likes to collect OP01 SR Luffy, it's not a terrible buy, but Dawn cards traditionally have been used by players, so not sure how your average collector would want to purchase this card. Let's visit the girl card from the OP14 release event. This card has gone up tremendously in value because of the blue-yellow Nami deck that's going to be played everywhere in the Heroines Cup. And although it hasn't been out for too long, it did have a lull of $8 and has gone up in price to $30 and is settling at about $25 as people are getting their full playsets. If I had to be conservative here, if after the Heroines Cup demand for this card falls, it could drop all the way back down to $17 or even $13, similar to what we had before. But if Blue Yellow Nami continues to be one of those decks that people love to play until the end of the time, demand for this card could go all the way up to $40. To be fair, this card already is pretty expensive, so if you wanted a full playset of these, you're looking to drop at about $100. That's more expensive than some people's entire decks. And last but not least, I noticed that this Dawn card got some weird price action as of a month ago. I'm not sure if people are buying up this card, but this used to be $3 and has spiked up to $9. And when I checked TCG Player for the sales data, it looks like for the past month or so, somebody or maybe multiple people have been buying up this card, but there's been consistent purchases at around $3 to $4 to $5. And there is usually a sale or two every single day, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. This is one of those cards that are slowly rising in price. Now, originally, this card in Japan is something that you could only get in a magazine promo, I believe, but in the West, you can only get these from the double packs from OP07, and considering that they don't print OP07 anymore, it's gonna get progressively harder to find these Dawn cards in the wild. I'm not sure if this is something that I would want to purchase, but if this is something that interests you, or if you want to get a playset of this Dawn before it might potentially skyrocket in price, this is, I guess, your warning. Cards that are under $50. These are some of them that have caught my attention, and I just wanted to share what I found with some of you guys. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, and comment some sets or cards that you're looking at. Or if you're interested in signing up to use this charting tool, our Discord server and waitlist form is in the description below. And until then, see you guys next time.